Good morning, everybody. Final round of TSRS. We're here with Alan Rudolph Racing at Amarillo. We have Kelvin and Bryce and Carter. Carter's joined the team. He just doesn't know yet. Bryce is in it for the championship and 206 senior. Kelvin mathematically is in it, but right now Bryce is winning it by 1 point over Reagan. So it's Alan Rudolph Racing against Trackhouse at the moment. Yes, I have been vlogging. I did the last round of TSRS and I'm doing this round of TSRS. I just haven't posted any videos lately so I wouldn't get kicked out before the end of the series. So we'll see how it goes this weekend. We're going to do a slight gear change. Practice yesterday was really good. Can't wait for today. Today should be a really good, fun day. Hopefully we qualify well, run the heats clean, and then, you know, stay accident free the whole weekend. And hopefully we have a lot of pace and speed. So let's see how we get after it. Hopefully we do fine. I don't know. Yesterday Reagan was really quick on his kart for final practice. We were lacking a little bit. We did a couple sub changes that might have not gone our way. We were going to do a slight gear change on one of the karts because I still want to do the gear change. And then Aiden is in the championship for K100 senior. He's just a little bit behind at the moment. So he has the pace and speed to win it. We all have to stay clean. That's all. Stay clean, stay out of trouble, and don't get DQ'd. How hard can that be? All right, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and share. So here we're out for warm-up. I did a gear change just on one of the karts. I wanted to go down a tooth, basically just have a little bit more straightaway. And then on the other kart, I just went up half a tooth just to have a little bit more on the infield. I thought everybody around us was running a little bit more infield. So if we didn't get it right, or if the track gripped up and we weren't able to keep the karts free, we were going to struggle a little bit. But that's not really an issue with the MGM. Usually the issue is adding grip into the kart, not keeping it free. They had a really good run this session. It went well, but the competition was stiff and they were fast. Now we had to wonder about tire pressure and then weather coming in. These are race weekends that you really have to think about, you know, long term. Like, okay, what's the track going to do? How am I going to set up for qualifying? What's the kart doing now? And a lot of the stuff is like driver feedback. So a driver comes off track and he's saying, man, this thing is just sliding everywhere. It's, you know, sometimes it's induced by them. They're turning and braking. They're not getting off the brakes. They're snapping the rear loose. And really the car's just stuck and tight. So it's hard to see at times what they're doing, but this camera angle really helps me out when I'm trying to tune the kart. Warm-up went well, so we went to qualifying, and I decided to keep the same gearing they had, and basically Kelvin was going to be the pusher, and Bryce was going to be up front. Yeah, he does a much job leading the way, and Kelvin he has a really good pusher. Plus, he had a really strong motor this week, and they both were really Lawson really did a great job on bringing two great engine packages. Here, I was kind of debating on what type of setup to put in. I decided to go to this regular neutral setup, except just narrow it up a little bit. I took the big spacer out in the front and narrowed up the kart because just there wasn't any rubber on the track yet. It had been raining. It was on off. It was washing out. So we didn't have any heat in the track and not really a lot of rubber laid down. This track layout is draft dependent, so draft is huge, finding a good drafting partner. So you have to see if you're going to gear for the straightaway or for the infield. And I'm usually one that likes to gear for the infield, but with these long straightaways, I took a gamble and we geared for the straightaways instead. It paid off in the end, but the driving was done really well. Kart came alive with the brand new tires on, and, you know, hands down, they did a great job. Bryce was able to take P1, Kelvin P3, and I think Carter P7. Overall, good job by the team. Yeah, so we went through practice. We were real fast. Made no changes at all. Well, we did do some changes. I took out some front end on Kelvin's, and I didn't touch Bryce's car at all. But we did go on higher tire pressure. We still ended up going P1 with Bryce, P3 with Kelvin, which puts us on the inside for starting out. An extra couple bonus points for pole. And yeah, let's go from here. We're going to do a couple more adjustments. The rain's supposed to be coming around 3-ish. That's what they're saying. I say there won't be any rain until like 7 or 8. So hopefully I'm right, because if it stays dry, we got the speed. That's all we got to do is keep it up. And Ferrari P4. That's Ashton P4. He's upset he didn't get pole, but he has speed too. Let's get after it. What to say, man? What to say? Take pole. Someone says they have no power on the series, but an individual that runs the series tries to keep changing the rules in the middle of it.
She's done this for the 5 or 6 years that she's had this series. That has been what I consider the number one issue. Is I have a name. It's a living rule book.
Joe calls it a living rule book, and it's true. It's constantly changing.
It's constantly evolving.
And now the thing is, she puts out on Discord instead of making an announcement, and all these old fucks don't have Discord, so they would have never known. And I didn't know. I thanks for the Chambers for the heads up, but I knew something like this was going to happen. After that ass whipping we put on qualifying, I knew something like this was going to happen.
So should we stay
well, at least we got the air cover on, but we're all on slicks. Probably should have gambled and threw on the rain tires, but it was hit and miss. It wasn't raining when we were on track. The track was completely dry. The moment they went out for their out lap, it started pouring. So this is slick tires on a track with very little grip. I did put in caster into a kart. That's probably what saved us to a point. I did put in semi-rain setup, except at the beginning of the race, Bryce decides to go right off track. Oh, man, it's just hard. You know, you're not in the right position. You don't know what the track's going to do. It's just completely slick. You're all out there, but I know you got to stay off the racing line. When it comes to racing on slicks in the rain, you stay off the racing line. All right, that's it. Basically, don't get on the racing line. Just stay off of it. Get where the rubber is has not been laid down. Go to some marbles. This is, you don't give up, because Kelvin spun out at the very beginning and he didn't give up at all, and he ends up running to the front. Bryce doesn't give up, ends up running towards the front as well. Gearing, maybe we should have gone even higher on gearing. I was anticipating maybe rain, but I did not anticipate this much rain. So maybe an extra 2 through 2 would have helped us out a lot. But definitely putting in the caster and nearing the cart up did help us out. And the rain covers, of course, because if we didn't have rain covers, those badass Lawson engines would not be badass anymore. They would be waterlogged Lawson engines. So, after this, he does a great job of trying to stay as clean as possible. He will make a couple mistakes here and there. He doesn't get much rain racing in, but he does really well when he's on full wets. This is, I think, the first time that he's on slicks. Right here, the guy in front locks it up. Bryce behind him locks it up, and then keeps it pinned. If you have a dragon skin clutch and do that, you're going to smoke the dragon skin clutch. But at least he had a Hilliard, so it wasn't too bad on pinning it. This will come to play later on in the race. Here, now you can see the rain has gone 10 times worse. It's incredible how bad it is, and he's trying to keep on the racing line, but as you can see there's just not enough grip. He runs right off the track. He falls back almost to dead last, but is able to run back up to 4th in the end on this race. Driving, once he settled down, was great, but before that, he was not doing the very best. Let's just put it like that. It wasn't the very best driving that he could have done. He could have done way better driving, but this is just tricky. If you ever want to learn kart control, nobody wants to go practice when it's raining. Go practice when it's raining and go put on some slicks. That's how I learned how to race in the rain. Everybody asks me, oh, what do you do racing in the rain? I go practice in the rain. When it rains, I'm out there. The only part that really sucks is cleanup. Kart cleanup. Everybody knows that's the part that really sucks. But you take one of your practice motors, you put it on, and you go race in the rain. That's how the only way you're going to get better is seat time. I say it, seat time is king. You can't beat it. If you get out there and do seat time, and it happens to do seat time in the rain, when it comes to rain racing, I mean, it'll be second nature. And Bryce is really good at it for not doing it that well. I mean, not that often. He's actually pretty dang good at it, which is surprising because he doesn't really rain race. This past year was the first time he's been on rain, and I think this might be the third time only that he's actually racing the rain. Other than a couple mistakes, he did really good. Now, Kelvin did an amazing job because he's, we've raced in the rain in Orlando a couple times, and he's racing slicks in the rain, so he does a great job. And then Reagan, he did a great job as well. Just basically staying clean, keeping it up, and taking home the win where he needed to. Because it was going to be, if we fell back any further than this, it was going to be really, really hard. We also got gifted a position at the end. Someone had spun out in the last corner, and we're able to clip them at the line. But by this point in time, you can see how difficult it is to be racing. You can see he's doing minimal hand corrections, trying to keep his hands as steady as possible. He's not really fighting the cart. I see people really fight the wheel from time to time, and that's not the way to do it. Like, you go in, correct, and it's just very minimal hand movements after that. You're not always trying to fight it, catch it. Just let the cart do what it wants to do. Let it drift to the outside if it wants to drift to the outside. Let it do what it's going to do. No matter how much fighting you're going to do, you're not going to control it. You're just going to make it worse. You're just going to make it 10 times worse. So you go into a corner, you basically just try to get the cart rotated, keep your hands as smooth as possible, as still as possible, and you'll see here, he ends up spinning out, and we end up clipping him and then giving us P4. That was some luck that we needed on our side for sure, but great run overall. All right, for Heat 2, completely different. We knew the track was going to be wet. We went with the rain setup. We went with rain gearing. And then we went, of course, with rain tires. Now, this is the difference. He's actually pretty good in the rain. Now, the MGM cart, as shocking as this is going to sound, and it shocked the crap out of me the first time I raced the MGM in the rain. Since it's so free in the dry and it's harder to put grip into this cart, in the rain, once you give it the rain setup, the cart is like a Cadillac. It drives itself, man. It's insane. Like, it's really good when it's wet and raining and soaked, and it is really good when the track rubbers up. Other than that, in between, it's a little bit of a handful, and you have to learn how to drive it. That's it. That's all. That's the biggest issue. Just adding some grip and then not over gripping the cart. So, because you're always like, okay, well, I mean, how much grip should I give it? Here, I gave it basically all the grip it needed because it's wet, except for changing the axle and changing the ride height. Really, all I did was wind the rear, slam the front, add caster. There was no passing. There was no nothing. It was basically he got a good start, ran away with it, and we took home P1. That was basically it in Heat 2. Well, final day, and it was a cold morning. It is a cold morning, not was. Whole bunch of rain last night, a whole bunch of wind. Yesterday's race went really well. We ended up finishing. Bryce took home P1 in Heat 2, and Kelvin was P4. Really good battle with Truly. Truly, I think, ended up P2, and Reagan P3. And then now we got Carter. He ended up P7, but Carter was purple for most of the race. He actually had a lot of fun. It was really fast in the rain, so hopefully he can keep that momentum up today in the finals and move up. He's starting 8th in the finals, starting 2nd in the finals, starting 4th in the finals, 3rd in the finals. For us to win the championship, we gotta finish in front of Reagan. Simple as that. mano a mano, Bryce against Reagan. Both been very fast all year long. Kelvin has a chance to bring it home in third. He has to beat Truly, so it's mano a mano with Truly. Ashton Wyatt hasn't finished the race yet because his dad has been a horrible mechanic. But what can we say? Shit happens. So in the end, let's get after it. It is a really, really good day. A really, really good day. Hopefully the track dries up here pretty quickly and we get a dry race. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. It's going to be a good one. You know it is. Always raw emotions. We'll see how the day ends. Let's get after it. Boys went out for practice. Went well. Reagan was the quickest. Then Truly, then Kelvin, then Bryce. The track was damp, but now the track's completely dry. It is windy, it is cold. We don't know what we're doing. We have a full Zen mode setup, and we're doing the kitchen sink even though we've been fast. So sometimes I impress myself on how stupid I could be. We'll see if this pays off or it doesn't. You either see tears of joy or tears of sadness in the next clip. Well, they took away a heat race due to weather. So it came down to the finals. Now it became mano a mano. All we had to do was finish in front of Reagan. If Reagan wanted to beat us, all he had to do was finish in front of us. He starts on pole. We start P2. Decent getaway. He gets a really good start. And right here, he's going to go straight down to protecting the inside. And I think he knew we were just lower on gear. Usually I decide to run the limiter. This time I decide to gear for the straightaway. And it pays off in the end. These two had a really good battle all race long, giving plenty of space. Bryce continued doing crossover moves all day long on him. But you'll see Reagan will run out of gear, protect the inside. Bryce is going to poke his head out and try to go back on the inside. Reagan does a good job getting his kart rotated and keeping the position. And then we end up losing a position due to Truly. But first lap of the race, it is very early. And this is how it goes all race long. I mean, it is a back and forth race. It is crazy how much battling it did, and it was so much fun to watch from the sideline. I mean, I had my heart in my chest, but other than that, it was great. Setup wise, what I did is I just narrowed the card back up. I just put the qualifying setup back in, and then the clutch. This is the only downside that we had. Our clutch was slipping pretty bad for Bryce. As the race went on, it just got worse and worse and worse. But once it engaged, we were fine. And we had plenty of top-end speed to run him back down the straightaway. As you know, in a 206, draft is huge. We had a big headwind. It was going to be a gamble. But I know if he stayed there and we had a pusher, we could make it work. I think Truly as well, he might have had a little bit more teeth than us. I'm not 100% sure. He might have been on the same limiter, gear ratio. Now, he had a little bit more teeth than us. Reagan, I know he had a lot more teeth than us, maybe a tooth more, tooth and a half more. But overall, back and forth, it was a great race. Kelvin was up there. It was a 4-kart battle most of the race. It was Reagan, Bryce, Truly, Kelvin. And then as the race went on, it brought more people to the pack. I know Carter in the back was moving up. Here you go, Reagan, good defensive, keeps his line as well. He doesn't pop back out. Once he made the decision to go down and block, he stayed down there. He didn't pop back out to a racing line. Did a really good job here. We just get a really good run. The first time we're able to do a crossover on him and actually get him. But he's going to get us back. I mean, he was there 99.9% of the time. And any time that we open up or made a mistake, he was going to pounce on it. So we were going to need a little bit of luck outside of the partner we had with Kelvin back there. We just need a little bit more because Kelvin was trying his hardest to push. But with that clutch issue, I didn't know how we were going to stay up and pull it off. Like right here, Reagan gets a really good run out of turn I think 1 and 2, and then right before 3, sends it up on the inside. Really good pass. Truly goes up on the inside. Bryce protects well. It was just a really good battle, and they stayed very clean. There wasn't any wrecking. Like the championship didn't come down because somebody got wrecked. No, the championship came down because they were just out there going back and forth, not trying to run each other off the track, just doing a really good job. I mean, I was so impressed of how good it was, and so shocked of the racing was just really good between them. Here we used our gear the best as we could, but we just ran out of steam. Bryce ends up backing out, gets right behind Reagan again. Reagan knows exactly what he needs to do to keep us behind him. Again, Bryce is caught up on the inside. I think he has someone on his outside, and then our gear is just going to kill us here on the infield. I know that was going to be the only downside, but I'd rather give up that tight little section and have a little bit more top end speed. And then we still had Kelvin back there, so Kelvin was a big factor in this. Truly was a wild card. I didn't know what he was going to do. I just know that we had to, Kelvin had to stay close to us to be able to use the gearing to get back by him. Overall, with 2 laps to go, this is where the fireworks went off. Truly made a move. Reagan let him through. Smart thinking. He'd be like, okay, well, I just need to battle Bryce. I don't need to battle anybody else. This is where the race really went. And I think it caught Reagan from surprise because it was going to be a location where he did not think Bryce would make the move. And nobody had made the move there all weekend. He opened up. We had less gear. Reagan probably thought he's not going to make the move or try to. He makes the move, and then he ends up grabbing Truly's toe. And basically that was it. Once that move was made, it slowed Reagan down enough that Kelvin was able to get by as well. So that dropped Reagan down to 4th. Now right here, Reagan does have fastest lap of the race. It is deadlock even. We had with him in 4th, we didn't have it. He ended up getting 3rd. Now this is where the change of the race, we end up drafting up by him, and by this time Carter and someone else had caught the group, and Jacob had caught the group. So Kelvin gets by, and right now it's Truly, Bryce, Kelvin, and you have Jacob behind Reagan. And this is where we did not expect this extra teammate. Jacob sends it up on the inside of Reagan, knocks him all the way back down to 5th. That gave us enough clearance that Bryce didn't have to win the race. He could just finish 2nd and be fine. And he's telling Truly, hey, don't worry about it. My race isn't with you. My race is with Reagan. But at this point in time, we needed Reagan to stay where he was at. And luckily enough, it turned out, it just fell into place. This year was a crazy up and down year. But the kid drove his ass off. The MGM worked great. The Lawson was amazing. Everything came together. All the hard work that put into it. Last year was a year that we didn't do that well. We had issues. The year before that, we didn't do that well as well. Kelvin went off to Dubai, and that ruined our championship chances. So overall, this year, it really clicked together. Bryce pokes his head out of the outside. He wasn't going to make a move. Just basically made sure he got a really good exit and NHP2. And right there it is. That's the championship. Man, what a good race. Good, hands down racing. Good job, MGM. Good job, Bryce. Congratulations, Lawson Power. Great job. Overall, thanks, Kelvin. Really appreciate the teamwork. Congratulations to Truly for the win. Damn proud of these kids. Doesn't matter how the points shake up in the end. We drove an amazing race. We had clutch issues. Not gonna blame the person, Chuck, but yeah, clutch did not work. So we were slow coming out of the gate. Basically, I'm staying away from tech because I don't want them to DQ because of me. And hopefully everything turns out to be great. They did a good job, 2nd and 4th in the race. and hopefully first and fourth in the championship, it looks like. Truly ended up winning. That was a great drive from him. Reagan ended up fourth. That was a good drive from him. It was a really good, tight race. The results of the race don't speak of how good and tight that race was. So overall, excellent run.